Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ancestor Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. We've secured our first client in 2 months. It is, of course, Gina Lestrade. We're here at Windibank's Pawnbrokery to investigate the scene now that we're officially representing her as her defense counsel. Right before, unfortunately, Susato has to go back home to Japan because her father is ill. I don't know how I'm going to cope in the courtroom, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. For now, let's take a look around. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. And Inspector Gregson is here, but so long as Iris Wilson is beside me, surely he'll bend over backwards to help me out. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Here, look, read, and weep. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers.
There we go, I even got Iris to hand it over. In some sort of manipulative tactic. Your ladyship. Oh! I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. She's Iris Wilson, man. She's capable of a great many things. Like you're practically around her finger.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
Why are you offering that to him before me? I was up all night, worried, sick. Well, he's pleased. That's like his 4th cup. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes. Yes! Oh, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter. I'm scared by squashing those wedges of his. He's gonna leave crumbs all over the crime scene and basically contaminate it. Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Alright, we've already established that that's probably not where he got killed. There was at least some sort of altercation out front, judging by the blood on the calendar. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever. Even with the lads working around the clock. We did see a bunch of bobbies around taking photos, or, you know, the best photos they can, judging by the technology available at the time. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. Well, surely they're linked, right? So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine. No, the sun usually hovers above your head.
Come then. Let us not waste any time.
I forgot Susato's actually still with me. She's not got home yet. She's dedicated to helping me out. Right until the very end where she has to board the ship. Let's make the most of it. Start by examining the crime scene. I almost said examining. That would not be correct. It would be like investigating. Anyway, let's start with the calendar, which has me enraptured. Look here. That's a bullet.
Oh yes, a bullet hole. But I can see the bullet is still lodged in the wall.
Presumably, Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Yeah, normally that gun was aimed at his own head.
Well. Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that.
Sorry?
It's all there in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest?
Sorry, not everything written in that book is nonfiction. So, that bullet, where'd it come from? I don't think it's the same bullet that Sholmes got shot with, because he's being operated on, right? Normally that only happens if the bullet's still inside. At least that's my understanding of it. They'll have to extract it, for instance.
Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime.
Not to mention, I think he got shot like in the gut, didn't he? And that's way too high up. It's up to that Bobby's eyes, practically. So whoever got shot must have been very freaking tall. He doesn't do it often. He shouldn't even do it once.
Forget that for now, Ryuno. Let's examine this bullet.
Yes, let's. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar. What else could it possibly be, Ryunosuke? Did you think, like, someone shot a can of tomato sauce that was up high against the wall?
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. There was blood on my steak once, and it wasn't from the meat.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes, what a, scientific observation.
So you need this?
Oh no. What is that scary-looking thing?
Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does.
Was it luminol? I think we saw him use it in the second case.
Watch.
Okay, don't eat. Wow, wow, my face! Oh, never mind, she was aiming over here. Whoa. Oh! The color of the bloodstain's changed.
There. Does it make sense now?
It makes less sense, because now it's, one, it's turned green, and two, it's turned back red again, from my perspective. Yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see.
Right, so depending on the blood type, it's going to change colors, so if we fired at someone else's blood stain, it could be blue, if they're like O negative or something. Is that my understanding of it?
Yes, how wonderful.
Okay.
The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at. In a flash.
Oh, whose blood it is. Okay, so it's not just blood type. We're gonna know who it belongs to.
Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Ginny would say it's bleeding great.
So, whose blood are we looking at then? The Hulk's? An alien? Predator?
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so, you know, I just thought it would be a cool idea to not have to look at red bloodstains anymore. Just find someone whose blood turns the same color, and you'll know who it belongs to, in a flash.
Alright, step right on up, guys. I'm gonna shoot you in the foot, and we're gonna spray this, smoke bomb on your foot, and we'll see what color it turns into. Shall we? Welcome to my freak show. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it?
1 flash or 2. This could well turn out to be a very valuable clue.
Alright, no need to, you know, speak poetry.
So we must make note of it in the court record.
The blood sample has been entered into the court record. A sample of blood analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turns at different colors. Okay.
Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio.
So, I mean, lucky we've got the myriad of colors available to us. We just need to figure out which color belongs to which person.
As long as I have reagent left, sure.
Alright, name unknown. Winterback's being shot. The color is green. I don't know how we're going to determine whose blood that belongs to. This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh, keep it down. Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here.
Really? Then we must tell Grexy at once.
I'm pretty sure even Grexy saw this gigantic eyesore. But as soon as I report it, that'll be it. I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over my shift. Ugh. They really have a tough time, the British police. God, where's our taxpayer money going?
That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it?
No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday. We were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. That we were.
These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy.
Thank you, Iris. You're a few hours late. We've already established that. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example?
Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know?
One man's junk is another man's treasure. Right, Ryunosuke? Like our sword with Cosmo's soul in it?
Are you alright, Runo?
Oh, it's just... Well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but I suppose when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue. It'll look good in my office. I'll look sophisticated.
That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever.
That they are. What are you doing? Are you admiring that horse statue? I'll outbid you for it every time. The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? That's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through it all in shifts at least, but still. Are you, though? Because that guy's been here for 2 days. Oh, sorry, he just hasn't been home for 2 days. I don't know how he's going to be able to investigate this effectively. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. Even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime and a pawnbrokers. I mean, you know the trial's tomorrow, right? So you guys gotta get your asses into gear. Must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know. Crime and a pawnbrokers. I hope it doesn't happen too often. Jeez, you make it sound like it's an occurrence, like an urban legend. Like, you know when it gets stuck in that pawnbroker. I remember the last one I was at. Oh boy. Anyway, there's the music box.
That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Ryuno?
Yes, but I've never seen ones as large as this in Japan.
Oh, well, this'll be a treat. Shall we have a listen?
Okay, why not? I'm sure these officers could use nap time. The guy who hasn't been home for 2 days is probably going to fall asleep to this lullaby.
What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound?
It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks. Sorry, don't mind the ambience.
Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Grexy to have a word.
Okay, we can't just abuse our power against Inspector Gregson, okay? Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. And here, I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though. I'm not confident I can get it closed again.
Oh, yes. That's a folding stereoscope.
Really? This is a stereoscope. Mr. Shum showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Oh, so there's 2. There's a smaller one and there's the big one.
Ah, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself.
I wonder if I could make money out of these in Japan. It'd be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. There we go. I'm just gonna, steal your guys' ideas and intellectual property, bring it home, and make a killing. It's sort of like that fantasy of going back in time and being able to, beat everyone else to the punch. Like, I'll design a home computer, and I'll be rich. I'll be the next Bill Gates, except I wouldn't have the first idea on how to sell them on the idea because I don't know how to build a freaking computer without the components being shipped to me directly from the store. I'd have to be able to come up with a graphics card, for instance, rather than just buy one from Amazon. Let's check out the disc. There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Winnebank's notes, and... Hey, there's a picture of a cat here! That's familiar. Isn't it? White cat photograph. I didn't think to look on the back of it. What do we have here? Look at the back of this print here. There's something written on it.
13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposited 1 small box. Loan amount paid 10 shillings. Redemption deadline 13th of April, 9 p.m.
Okay. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket?
For an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus it was seen.
Yes, a small box. It doesn't tell us much about it, does it?
Perhaps it contains some valuable mementos? Can't help wondering. Presumably Mr. McGilden never redeemed the article in question since he still had the ticket. So is it possible that the box is still present somewhere in the shop?
Yes. If it's something McGilden deposited, we need to investigate. Okay, a redemption ticket issued from the pawnbroker owned by the victim, Mr. Winnebank, in the form of some handwritten notes on the back of a photograph. Unfortunately, it's already ticked over past the redemption date. So, does that mean it's in the shop somewhere? Rather than in the back? This is an adorable little cat. I think it looks a little like Wagahai. I always thought that cats like to curl up inside under the heated kotatsu blanket when it snowed. Maybe British cats are different. I don't know if they have kotatsus here. What's this? Looks as though someone's left a little photographic print behind, just in time.
Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Show us.
What does this one say? Oh, there's a bloody fingerprint on it too.
15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid £1. Redemption deadline 15th of April, 10:30 p.m.
Okay, so that was last night. So this was the one that was deposited during the trial. The music box must be the one that McGill asked Gina to deposit. Or sorry, I say music box. It's probably, I don't know if it's a music box. It's the box, the mystery box, was deposited by Gina on the 13th of February. That must be it. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. It was a very fine coat. In fact, I think.
Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday.
And is still wearing, which belonged to McGill. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Winterbank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand.
Okay. He has a lot of photos of this cat, but this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same as the one Ginny gave us earlier.
Of course. I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out.
We've already looked at it, okay, guys? Calm down. Alright, let the cogs turn. Yeah, I'll let their cogs turn, so they can realize what I've just talked about.
Yes, they're exactly the same.
Are they? Yeah, I suppose so. I was trying to play spot the difference. I thought the angle was slightly different on the one on the right compared to the left. You can tell by where the cat's looking, I guess. Very slight difference.
I've got it. These 2 photographs hide an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know?
For Ginny's fucking sake, yes, please, tell us right now. Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Alright, before you do that though, I'm gonna look in the back. If we can.
Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Grexy said.
Yes. And that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Shot right in the back just once? I wonder if Winterbank's bloodstains is still in there. We could spray that, right? Mr. Winterbank face down on the floor, with Gina beside him, the gun in her hand.
As the accused's legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation.
Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door. That's the real scene of the crime. Is it, though? I mean, we've got shattered... I don't know, is that glass on the floor, or is that, like, shredded piece of paper?
Don't worry. If there are clues in there, I'll find them.
Alright, well... there we are. Let's have a look at this. It's from this lamp here. That ledger that's open on the counter there really is enormous, isn't it? Must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn.
It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me.
But clearly, Mr. Winterbank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. Alright, let's take a look back here before we speak with Iris about her super discovery of the photos. I'm just really curious about what's back here. 16th of April, Winterbank storeroom. There's some blood we can spray, hopefully. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely.
Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Winterbank's life was taken in this very room only last night.
And she probably knew the guy too, right? Inspector? Oh! You have to act so surprised. Oh, he's leaving. Wait, Inspector! What is it now, Sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do you? No? Iris, are you okay? Well... Never seen her ladyship looking like that before is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her, so you ran off. Nice. Good job, man. So you weren't running away from me. You were running away from a 10-year-old who was crying. I can see that happening.
I'm afraid this is all a little too much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Ugh. You know, like a hug. Or some, like, promise. We'll catch the one who did this, you know? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Please don't say that in that tone ever again. You made it worse. I don't think that went very well. She's definitely gonna write shit about you now. Why? This is precisely why I ran away. Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. Look, if I was Sunshine, Iris would be smiling right now, okay? So clearly I'm just a cloud of rain right now.
We have investigating to do ourselves.
Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Although I'm not much socially inept myself. Or adept at it anyway.
Oh, Hurley.
And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. Okay, lots to do. Let's get a move on. Start with the blood. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line.
Poor Mr. Winterbank. He was a nice old man.
He was. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. Okay, so if he was shot once through the heart, who got shot outside? Because he would have died instantly, no? And if he was dragged here, there would be a blood trail, no? Not just a pool of blood down there. This must be his blood then. And I don't think a bullet is enough to plug a wound, you know, to stop the bleeding. Not like a knife, for instance.
Ah. I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris. But I wonder if perhaps...
We could use your gun.
Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action.
Okay, ah! What do we got? Blue.
So now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Winterbank's blood.
Alright, so that blood outside is not his.
And it doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shop. No, but let's add the sample to the others we've already collected anyway.
The blood samples portfolio has been updated. Okay. Looks like there might be more to the blood stain or the corpse outline. Iris?
Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely.
Alright, we've got the gun. This is a revolver. A real one.
And quite possibly the murder weapon. Used to take Mr. Winterbank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Reno look like you're about to faint.
You're the one who looked like you were about to faint. You can't just turn this around on us.
Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh.
And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Winterbank with this yesterday, didn't we? So this is his gun. I shall have to take my own life. Great. Well, looks like someone did him the favor. Must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Interesting that they left it here. You know, they obviously booked Gina, and they saw the gun in her hand, but they're like, okay, we're just gonna leave it there on the floor. Instead of, you know, taking it in as evidence.
Mr. Winterbank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he?
True.
Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired.
So it can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Can we, though? Okay, time to look at the obvious box in the middle of the room out of all the articles in the storeroom. This is the only thing that shows any signs of being ransacked.
Ah!
What is it, Iris?
That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in.
Aha!
Oh.
Iris's unpublished story. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this...
Sorry, Iris. But if you ask me, he sold it.
So, this was obviously... Lestrade's doing, trying to recover it for Iris?
Without telling you. We must check inside the box. At once. Yes.
And what do we have inside? Nothing.
It was there. Iris' story was there.
Was it there? Okay. That's good. I guess Lestrade was interrupted before she could take it out. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris?
Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he had deposited it here, but still, it's a relief to actually see it.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown. You know, it's like, it's even though someone you absolutely trust tells you something and not to worry about it, it's still nice to see things for yourself and be like, okay, yeah, they were right, I can trust them, they weren't lying to me, my stuff's still good. Iris's manuscript has been entered into the court record. Really, the whole thing. A long, unpublished story that Mr. Sholmes deposited at the pawnbroker of the victim, Mr. Windibank. It's entitled The Hound of the Baskervilles. So, can we read it then? Iris Wilson. It's got this symbol on it. Can't find anything out of place, I guess. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susato-san know the exact title of this unpublished story? Yeah, good question. I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so that flower symbol, more or less, for lack of a better term to call it, is like Iris' signature. It's on our blood samples portfolio right there. It is not the one that's on the cat photo, though. That one looks more of like, I don't know, baubles. Got a giant gramophone here. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them.
Can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look!
Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and policemen shuffling around. And Gregson's loud munching, I suppose. Not much I can do about that, sunshine. What, dusting? Okay, nothing on the desk back there. It's time to converse. The scene of the crime. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw! You've got eyes, haven't you? Use them! It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, so there's nothing hidden away, is there? Iris, could you lend me a hand?
So, Grexy, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Oh, yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, at shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to this story was found locked from the inside. I don't know why he's acting all jovial about it. So it was locked from the inside. Of course it was.
The lock appears to be broken now, though. What's the police officers doing?
Quite right, ma'am, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible.
Oh, it's a bit disturbing when you talk like that, Inspector Gregson.
As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor. Thus wise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child. I say that with a big smile on my face.
Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector.
Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, is curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. You don't have to talk like you're in the story, like some noir detective, okay? Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand.
No.
So it's confirmed that is the murder weapon? Presumably it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well.
What?
The key to the storeroom.
And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector?
Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding, but of course it is. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Your bias is showing. Shows this operation.
Grexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
Well, the thing is,
Don't mince your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is...
No, the operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well...
Out with it!
Oh god, you're about to get Susato takedown! Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing, renders the whole body insensitive, unless you drink 5 cups of coffees before your operation, in which case you will probably be wide awake. The whole body, and anesthetized. Is that even possible? Damn, Ryunosuke, I can't believe you knew the English word. He's really fluent in English. It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep.
Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we could just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction. You know, we're hard asses over there, we're not a bunch of wusses.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, so they should have just done it on him while he was awake, like they used to do. Now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh. Fan-freaking-tastic.
Oh my.
No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in his system or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again. Yeah, well, I'm kind of worried your Bobby just outside is going to go the same way. He hasn't gone home for 2 days.
Hurley.
If anybody ever desires your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. I like the bitterness there. Alright, Iris, sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. Go ahead, explain the pair of photographs to us, please. So, Iris, about these 2 photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these 2 identical prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, the 2 prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
Yeah, I did mention. It's the cat's eyes, they're not.
Have another look at them now. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle, though.
But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the 2 prints? Well, it's because they're a set, you see.
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs is meant to be used as a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them in the moment.
Oh, really? A stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Even though, you know, we've examined 2 of them.
Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is, just over there.
Yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place?
Nope, never thought about it.
No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene.
I, for one, simply have to know.
And plus, we've already examined the scene. Ryunosuke, this is precisely why I left her till last. Not really, I just got lucky on that front. How stereoscopic prints work, please. Explain.
Have you ever considered, Reno, how our eyes see depth in the world around us?
Well, I just open them and it works.
But the reason it works is because we have two eyes.
2 eyes? Shocking. Color me surprised.
If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away.
That's true. I do that a lot. I don't know why. It's passes the time, I guess.
What you see with your left eye, and what you see with your right eye.
I'm doing it now. I'm winking like a madman.
Are ever so slightly different. Get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we sense depth in everything we see.
My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. Pesky bastard. Keeping secrets from me.
Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs
Consist of a left eye view.
and a right eye view. Is that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick.
She's onto it. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'll be able to see depth in these prints.
Yes, Reno. You're beginning to understand.
And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that.
Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all.
You can? Really? So why are people paying good money for this contraption? For the convenience? How to view stereoscopic prints?
Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Yes, I'm dying to have a go.
Susepticon really loves this kind of thing. I mean, she better make the most of it while she can before she has to go back to Japan.
You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that?
Cross my eyes? I think I can. Normally I just do cross-examinations.
Watch me, and see if you can copy.
I'm not very good at crossing my eyes. I have to do the whole finger thing where it like slowly approaches my nose.
Make your eyes do this.
Ah, you look like a dummy.
Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? There, how's that? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time.
I don't know, I look like a fool. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. God. I look like I'm with a bunch of numpties. Okay, alright.
Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at... Let's try it looking at the prints.
Here we go.
Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes.
You know we could just use the portable stereoscope in this very room?
You should see two overlapping images like this. You try it now, Runo.
I'm just going to have to give it a try, I suppose. Here we go.
Did the print split in two images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day.
Please don't. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. You might lose your depth perception skill.
Your turn, Runo.
Okay.
Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the two images overlap exactly in the middle.
I totally didn't just try it, by the way. Promise. Like this, is it? Here we go.
There, you managed it. So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, I suppose. I wish I had that skill.
So what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo?
They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. Plus, what do we learn from this?
No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky.
See, this is why I pay good money. This is why I pay good money for this kind of stuff, because I'm not good at it.
Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we?
It's still there.
If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here.
Cha-ching!
And set the pair of photographs in this stand at the back end.
There we go. Hassle-free. It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now.
Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently.
But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them.
But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case.
Stereoscopic print. Oh, pictures, sorry. I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. I've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. Spoiler alert, he probably does. Actually, I don't know if it's a spoiler alert, but surely we'll need to know. We wouldn't just harp on about it, like take a decent chunk of investigation time explaining it if we didn't need to know how it worked. Photograph depicting a sweet little white cat. I feel as though I have another print just like this one. Okay, cool. Now it's actually in our court record, so surely we can have a look on the back here. Okay, so same symbol, only this time there's a bloody thumbprint on it.
Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here.
How could I not notice? Okay, I'm not cross-eyed all the time like you. Okay, I can actually see this. Just staring straight. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean?
Oh, the red smear, you mean?
Yes, it does look like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Susato-san had picked up on that. We should spray it. Well, in that case...
Yes, we need Iris.
We should show this to her before we forget. White cat photograph number 2's information has been updated. There's what looks like a bloody finger mark on it. It's been a while since I've had to present something. And I examined it again. Here we go.
Oh, that looks like blood.
It does. I would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather.
Well, don't worry, Rene. You can leave the rest to me.
Okay, I shouldn't hold it in front of my face. Oh, purple this time. Look at that.
Yes, that's a colour we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it'd be nice to find out whose blood these different colours correspond to at some point.
We've got 3 different blood samples, one of which we know belongs to Mr. Winnemake. Well, this particular stain of blood...
Yeah, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
Do I? No idea. How could I? We don't have a known sample of the same color. Without that, it's impossible to know.
Oh, how very vexing. I wonder...
What?
Well, it's true that the colour doesn't help us. But what about considering how the mark came to be there in the first place? You might have an idea about that. Mightn't you, Rune?
Mightn't I? Not if you keep staring at me like that. No. I prefer you staring at me cross-eyed.
Let's try that again, shall we?
Well, this particular stain of blood...
Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Let's just repeat dialogue again so you understand that you obviously know what the answer is. You just can't think of it right now, you dopey-ass mofo.
I think I do. I know what it belongs to. Let me just bluff my way through this. Not from the color return, but with a little deduction.
That's right. I think it's clear. Iris, do you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to?
Oh, no, you first. I insist. Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Gina Lestrade. No. Who popped his finger? Okay, well, let's start with Gina Lestrade. Because she pricked her finger, right? Oh, sorry, Egbert Benedict pricked his finger.
Oh my, you think this is Gina's blood?
Yes, it was Gina who brought the ticket here to Windibanks after all. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one.
But Gina doesn't own any gloves. At all.
Oh. Oh. Sounds like I got it wrong.
And Ginny wasn't injured either, was she?
Ah.
We're trying to work out who the blood came from, so we could rule out anyone who hadn't been bleeding straight away.
Okay. Perhaps my answer was a little too simple. I'll have to think this through some more. Who do we know was bleeding at the time? Okay, according to the court record, Pop Windibank's blood is blue. Judging from what we saw in the storeroom, Thrice Fired Mason's supposed to be dead. Do we go with Magnus McGilded here? This is, after the omnibus caught ablaze.
Mr. McGilded?
Yes, after all, this redemption ticket belonged to him.
Oh, you don't think... You mean that during the incident on the omnibus?
Yes, I expect so. It's a very clear print and no small amount of blood. So it must have resulted from a fairly serious accident, such as he might have sustained on the omnibus.
Wait, but if I remember rightly, no sign of injury was found on Mr. McGilded at all.
Oh shit, I got it wrong again.
God! What?
That leaves Thrice Fired Mason then. Which ticket am I even looking at? Oh, I'm so confused. Okay, we've already established Windibank's blood is blue. Is this like a contradiction then? We'll leave him for last. Let's just mention Thrice Fired Mason. Thrice Fired Mason?
You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there.
What gave that away? Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. That's exactly why I was struggling to provide this answer to you. Not because I think it's impossible. He was definitely thrice fired, though.
The victim? Of the omnibus case?
Uh-oh. Everyone's stunned.
Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
You didn't even have to pull your book out for that one.
But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago.
After his supposed death. I don't know how I came to this conclusion. Like, I genuinely thought it was like Egbert Benedict who left this bloody print on it. Yes, I think it was. Uh-oh. What does this all mean? I can't believe we deduced that. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time.
So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night.
Right.
Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand.
That's right, the bloody gloves, of course. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Mr. Naruhodo, you sound like Mr. Sholmes.
Yeah, I stumbled a bit, but I needed a course correction, so I guess you could say I am exactly like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope.
Yes, I think you're right, Rune. Very well. Let's make a note of this.
The details of the pawnbroker's ticket for the coat have been updated in the court record. The blood on it has been identified as Mr. Mason's, through deduction, not by any scientific means. Okay. Well, that was eye-opening. Shit.